Good evening. This is Tammy. I'm the president of Fun and Adventure at Singles Travel International, and I'm excited to talk about our newest luxury program. It's not until 2026, but it is so exclusive that we're only taking 11 members. I'm here tonight with Ray Barouette. He's with
Okay.
African Bush Camp, and it's ABC. He's going to talk about that. They have a wonderful a worldview and life philosophy and very intensely preserving African culture, the animals, and everything that is there. And that is why we're partnering with them because of this philosophy that I think a lot of people can get behind today. So, Ray, welcome aboard.
Thank you. As Tammy mentioned, we've been working together for quite some time putting together this trip. And I tell you what, Tammy is a fierce advocate, a fierce advocate for you in making sure that we get all of the best accommodations, the best transfers in place. So you're in fantastic hands. Now, one of the things about African bush camps is that we are all about the spirit of the guide. Our founder, Bexon Lovu, he is from Zimbabwe, born and raised there. He is a pro-level Zimbabwean certified guide. And the important part about that is that the spirit of the guide really dictates everything that we do. In other words, the guide is the focal point of every single activity because at the end of the day, you're going there to experience nature, to understand the ebb and flow of nature and how that relates to your everyday experiences, which surprisingly it does. That's one of the gifts that you'll take back with you after this adventure in Southern Africa. I want to play this little video here for you. And I think that's really inspiring. And you'll be going to three separate countries: Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Botswana. Each of these countries, even though they're near each other, they have different, if you will, personalities, different differences in the culture of the people, and some differences in game as well too. There will be overlapping game. You'll find Ellie's everywhere, and by the way, everyone loves Ellie's. But with this combination, you have a really just all-encompassing experience in Southern Africa. Now, you'll be starting off at the falls at Thorn Tree River Lodge. Then you'll be going to Somalisa in Hwange in Zimbabwe. And then from there, you'll be going to Atzaro Okavango, which is in the Okavango Delta, which is part of the Kalahari Basin. Now, all of these are very different experiences. This is all about the water here at Thorn Tree River Lodge. Somalisa has vast plains there. And Atzaro, being a delta camp, very rich. The waters come down from Angola during the flood season, and they create, if you will, this sort of arm with this hand. And all kinds of game migrate and will travel to this area as well too, because of the richness in the minerals and obviously all the water there. So starting off at Thorn Tree River Lodge, and you get there and everything we do is going to be private transfers as set up by Tammy. Um, and once you arrive here, it's really, really amazing. In fact, the name of the park where we're situated is called Masoi Utunya National Park, which literally means um, the the river that thunders. All right. And that's what the locals call this area here, as opposed to Victoria Falls. And it's very appropriate. So we were located just outside of Livingston, which is the main town where that's located. And obviously, the falls are the centerpiece. This is the mist that thunders, constant rainbows. During the time of year that you're going, there's so much mist and water that actually it rains upwards coming up from the falls as well too. It's really phenomenal. If it's a full moon at that time of the year, you can even see if the timing is right, you can even see full moon rainbows at night, which is quite phenomenal. One of the really great ways of seeing the falls as well is via helicopter as an option. And it is one of the new seven wonders of the world. Here it's all about the water, the falls, the mighty Zambezi River, which empties out into the falls. And we're located in the park, right on the Zambezi River, during a really calm section, as opposed to all that activity, all that spray and the rapids, etc. Here it's gives you a nice respite from that. And the great part about this is that you're actually in the park. So though this looks very set up, beautiful, keep in mind that there are no fences at any of our parks, and you'll actually have wild game walking through the park, walking through the camp. Tinted and wood structures, absolutely gorgeous. It blends in very harmoniously in the setting. Here you'll find a library, spa facilities, and in fact, part of what one of the options for the first who sign up are to have complimentary spa. And by the way, I was just there in November. The masseuse is incredible. So I would highly recommend it. Amazing food program, you know, multiple courses. You have wine pairings with lunch and with dinner. In fact, you'll find this at all of our properties. And this these are considered, this is considered an icon camp, which is one of our wildly luxurious camps as well. Fantastic wine program and wine cellar. So really great for the gourmand. Of course, the public areas have pool, large pool overlooking the Zambezi River. Once again, it's all about the water. And these are your quote unquote tents, 900 square feet, canvas and wood structures, really cool artwork, touches from the local villages as well too, as far as the furnishing, some of the furnishings used and hinting towards the local culture. Looking out, each of these will have their own private dipping pools. It's all about bringing the outside in or bringing you inside, while you're inside, bringing you out. So sliding glass doors here, indoor shower, outdoor shower, soaking tub. And as I mentioned, the spa services here are phenomenal. So definitely sign up and get that complimentary massage.
Ray, I was going to mention my first trip to Africa, and I didn't know about the outdoor showers. And
Yeah.
it's so private. So when you are listening, our members here tonight, and you hear about an outdoor shower, some of us might be a little modest and think, "Oh my gosh," you know. But the units are so private. But who may see you is the animals, because I went out there and all of a sudden I hear there was a giant elephant right next to my deck. I was safe, but I mean, that was probably one of the most memorable moments of my life on a vacation.
Yeah, that can certainly happen. So she's absolutely right. It's very private. The way that these tents are situated, they're so that other guests won't be able to see you. The staff won't be able to see you. But of course, if there's any game roaming through, they're likely to see maybe an elephant or a hippo nearby. But keep in mind that when you're in your tent, when you're um, they see it as one large unit, if you will, and they are somewhat accustomed to people in the sense that they just ignore us as long as you stay within that area. So very, very safe. You're more you're more likely to have an occasional monkey perhaps running up, and I wouldn't leave any sunglasses out. Let's just put it that way. Now, one of the really great things about this area is that they have really worked hard to conserve the white rhino. And, it's not because the rhino are white. This actually was, if you will, a twisting of the words where it was wide-mouthed rhino, but it became white rhino over time from just people misunderstanding that. But they're they're very much endangered. They're guarded 24/7, and there are currently 7 or 8 in the park. So we call with the rangers, make an appointment, and you'll actually approach them on foot, and you actually get fairly close to them on foot, which is a really amazing experience. Additionally, as I mentioned, it's all about the water. We've got speedboats here. We can do sunset cruises, and each every single day you'll have 2 safari experiences, one early in the morning, one late afternoon. During the middle of the day, you'll take a siesta, but each of those experiences can be either a typical game drive in a Land Cruiser, it could be on one of our speedboats, canoeing, or maybe even the opportunity to go fishing for tigerfish in that area, which have these fish have very large, sharp teeth, which is really, really quite unusual. You'll see zebra out in the park. You'll even see them walking through the camp at times. Elephants, hippos, monkeys, etc. So the lodge, we say it's expansive, spectacular, beautifully elegant. Some of the things that you may see, as I mentioned, for sure, the white rhino, elephants, hippos, giraffe, antelope, zebra, wildebeest, waterbuck, warthog, or as they are affectionately called, they're Pumbas, as in the Lion King, buffalo, monkeys, crocodiles. Really, really great experience. So from there, we're going to fly you via private charter to Hwange in Zimbabwe. And these planes are the workhorses of the bush. They've got air conditioning. They're quite comfortable. You'll have to bring soft-sided luggage, and there's a weight limit on that luggage as well. But the great part about it is that when you're in camp, they do your laundry for you. So you actually don't need to pack that much. I always recommend to do 3 days sets of clothing. And if you want, pushing 4 or 5 sets, and you rotate as they're being washed at each camp. Additionally, it's really important to dress in layers. In the mornings, it can be quite cool, and then warm up quite a bit during the afternoon. So, well, say dress like an onion. You can peel off as you get warmer, and later in the day, you can put back on as well, too. So you fly into Manga Airstrip, and from there, there's a short transfer to Somalisa. And by the way, Somalisa camp has been in Condé Nast Traveler magazine multiple times. This is the birthplace of African bush camps. This was our very first camp 18 years ago. Now, clearly, it's not the same camp from 18 years ago, but this was our very first site. It's since matured, has undergone multiple renovations, and it is still one of our founders' favorite camps, actually. This is the view looking out from the main lobby area, looking out onto the pool there. And what's really, really neat about this area is that there are a lot of pans, and pans are watering holes. And in Zimbabwe, being in the Swangay National Park, it tends to be a rather arid area, as you can see, very much open, very, very different from what you find at Thorntree. And it's somewhat arid. So the government has been pumping water into these watering holes for some time, which attracts wildlife. And there are actually a couple of those watering holes right by Somalisa. So while you're in your pool, maybe having a cocktail, and by the way, I don't think I mentioned that all that amazing food, top shelf drink is all included as part of your stay. So maybe while you're in the pool, having a gin tonic, if you want to go classic safari, or maybe a martini, you're lounging there, cooling off midday while you're watching the elephants in the pan just off from the pool area. Absolutely fantastic experience. As you can see here, very shabby chic, textured feel, beautiful accommodations. And another view here. We always have outdoor seating areas where you can really enjoy the outside, or you can slide that open while you're sitting on the inside and take those views as well too. And there's nothing like waking up as you're looking out onto these beautiful expanses, seeing game outside of your tent. What a way to start the morning. This is an example here of how close the elephants can get, and it's very, very safe. Zimbabwean guides, and by the way, the Zimbabwean guiding ethos goes throughout everything that we do, are the best trained guides in Southern Africa. Just say for comparison, you can get your guiding license, your basic guiding license in South Africa in a few months, whereas in Zimbabwe, to become a pro level certified guide, it takes 5 years. So these guys are considered, if you will, the doctorate of guides. In the evenings, you'll do some really great things like hang out by the boma, share stories amongst yourselves about sightings or with other guests, and taking these fantastic sunsets. One of the really great things as well, too, is that during each game drive, we always have a stop where you can do either you have tea and coffee on your morning game drive. They'll pull over, they'll have some cookies and biscuits and scones and things of that sort. And, you know, after the first day, they'll know whether you take one lump or two lumps in your tea, or if you have coffee with milk, etc. They'll know what you like, and they'll have it ready for you, and they'll never have to ask you again. And on your second game drive, we have what we call sundowners, where we find a spot and we set up a table with cocktails. And just like with the morning game drive, after a while, they'll know what your favorite cocktail or drink is, or glass of wine, and they'll have it ready for you. This is the level of service. And once again, going back to the guiding aspect, how in tune they are with the guests, because they have to be in tune with nature as well. So that translates throughout the entire guest experience. You'll find in this area, amongst a few things. Sorry, I hope it's not too loud. There's a lot of background noise. I apologize. You'll find wild dog or painted dog, and they are relatively rare to find, in fact. So whenever you see them, it's always very exciting for everyone. You'll find buffalo, and these guys are very intense. You walk by or you drive by, and they all look at you in unison. It's like they're one unit. So it's quite interesting. Lion, hyena, giraffe, jackals, antelopes, hippo. And here we can also do walking safaris as well too. And this is where you'll actually walk through the bush with your guide. And sometimes they'll even approach large game as well. So really, really interesting experience. From there, you'll be continuing on to Botswana. And Botswana is very, very popular because of the Okavango Delta. I'm sure you've seen that on many documentaries, etc. And you're going to be going there. First of all, you're going to take one leg via private charter. And then from there, and this is going to be the cool part, you're going to transfer to a helicopter. And we're going to take you via helicopter to Atzaro. One of the cool things about going by helicopter is that you're flying much lower. You can see the game. So it's essentially an aerial game drive. And it's really just amazing to see herds of zebra or elephants or pods of hippo via the air. As you come into Atzaro, which is our newest camp, it's located in the NG32 region of Atzaro. So that's going to be the southeast area of the Delta. There's a permanent water channel nearby, and this is a floodplain camp. Now, huge, expansive, very, very resort-like, really great artwork throughout. In fact, I was just there this past November. It's stunning. The food is amazing. The game viewing is off the chart, and it's on a private concession. So what that means is that when you're on a private concession, as opposed to a national park, you're actually able to do something called bushwhacking, where you will make your own roads and go off-road in pursuit of game. So this way you can get better looks. Whereas sometimes at the national parks, if they're too far off the path, then you might have to see them from further away or use binoculars. But the really interesting thing about game, however, is that more often than not, they actually like to take roads because it's easier to walk on. So it tends to work out and equalize itself. Beautiful, beautiful central pool area, lots of seating areas here at Atzaro, and phenomenal spa as well too. So they can do either service in the spa or in your tent. Workout facility, and this is your quote unquote tent. Super high ceilings. You know, this thing is 1,000 square feet in size. The 2-bedroom villas are over 2,000 square feet in size, and they each will have their own star bed, which is incredible. Each unit has its own private dipping pool. It's going to have its huge soaking pool. Once again, having indoor shower and outdoor shower and an outdoor soaking tub as well too, which is all private. They're all shielded by these bamboo, if you will, walls around. And this is the star bed. So the star bed is an opportunity for you to sleep out at nights for those who are so inclined. Now, I know it might sound a little scary, but you're on a raised platform. In fact, the entire camp is on a raised platform. So once you exit the vehicle and you walk across if you will, ground for just a few feet, you'll go up some steps, and the entire time you're in camp, no matter where you go, you're on this raised platform, which is raised about 4 feet off the ground. So one of the things that's really impressive about going to Southern Africa is the fact that there's zero light pollution. So the stars are the brightest stars you'll ever see. The symphony of sounds that you hear in the silence of the night is that there is no silence. There is no silence. sounds of insects, of game, etc. It's the most beautiful sounds you'll ever hear. So expansive, spectacular. It's really beautifully elegant. It's the pinnacle of sustainable luxury. And that's something that's important for us. So, besides the fact that the guide experience is important for us, at African bush camps, it's very important that wherever we are, not only do we choose our sites for the game viewing opportunities, but also for the fact that they are villages and communities nearby that can be impacted in a positive way by us. It's all about sharing and conserving Africa together. So they are sharing, these people are sharing their resource with us. And by us staying there, we are sharing with them as well too, by from an economic basis, and also from the fact that we're able to give to our foundation. Every single stay percentage goes to the foundations in the neighboring areas to give back. So it's responsible tourism. Now, the Delta, as I mentioned, is very, very famous. It's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So you can do game drives here, walking safaris. You can do the Makoro safaris, which are the traditional dugout canoes. So instead of paddling, they pole, much like you would have in, say, Venice, if you will. So they're poling these dugout boats. So you have a very low perspective as you've seen game along the riverbanks, elephants, etc. And it just makes for amazing photos, and it's so silent. We also see lions, leopard, cheetah, wild dogs. As I mentioned, I was there recently in November, and saw leopard and cheetah really up close. I mean, the opportunity that we were able to bushwhack and go off road, we were able to get really close to them and follow them for quite some time, which was absolutely amazing. Ostrich, hornbills, fox, mongoose, um, pangolin, which are also quite rare, and almost everyone's always very excited to see them when that happens. You can also do night drives also in this area, so absolutely amazing. Um, I think that wraps it up there, Tammy.
You got like you got some. I don't know.
Tammy.
Hi, Ray. I am back
Oh,
here.
there you are.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for that. That was spectacular. And I'm going to just add a little bit more because there is not an easy way to top the images that you showed us here tonight. Um, what I want to say is that our itinerary is going to be starting up in the Victoria Falls area, as you mentioned. Then we'll make our way down to Somalisa and then to Atsaro. So it's on our website. You can take a look at that if you're here tonight and you're interested. We did have that extra incentive about getting the massage if you are one of the first to book in the group, one of the first five. But then also, just to let you know that this is a President's Club departure. So I am the concierge. I'll be leading the group, making sure that as Ray and I and his team put this together so carefully, I will be on site to make sure that all of the little details between lodges, are well taken care of. This is really, as he said, this is the pinnacle of sustainable luxury. It's going to be the most comfortable African safari that you'll ever imagine taking. The lodges are iconic. There are plenty of staff members. And Ray, you started to talk a minute about the just the cultural engagements that we'll have. We will have a chance to meet some of the village folks. If anybody is interested, there are some volunteer opportunities, and they will have that available. I'll be there to just make sure that our itinerary gets you into everything that you want to see in these beautiful places. And the beautiful part about traveling via private charter is that we're not going to waste any time on the ground. So we'll get the best of that first lodge up in the Zambezi River, and then we'll quickly make our way down to Somalisa, and then up to down to Atsaro, all via private jet. And by the way, the reason we're only taking 11 people on this program is because these lodges only hold. So those suites that we saw in the images that Ray presented tonight will be what our accommodations look like. So we're only taking 11. We have 5 reserved so far. So we have about 7 spots, 6 spots left. And it's not until 2026, but we want to make sure that if this is the trip for you, this won't be for everybody. But if you have the time and the desire, if you're an animal lover, this is the trip. I will confess that my first trip to Africa, I went because I was invited, by one of the tour operators. This was many, many years ago. And so I thought, okay, let me see what Africa's about. I wasn't a big animal lover. And I know I'm taking a big risk by saying that here in public, but it changed my trajectory. I had an encounter with a leopard that's in the upper right-hand corner here. We were in the camp, and like Ray was explaining, some of these animals sightings are rarer. And so, everybody wants to see the big 5. So that's your lion, your giraffe, your uh, Cape buffalo, elephant, and the leopard, if I got it right, Ray. But the leopard is the most elusive of them all. And so we were getting toward the end of the week, and all of a sudden there was some busyness in the morning because there were tracks through our camp. And so we got into the vehicles and we started to chase, and we're looking, and then so we had rangers and trackers, and the trackers these are generations of young men who grew up in this area, and they know exactly where to go and what signs and indicators to look for to find the animals so that the guests have a better chance to photograph them. And so I heard them say, "Oh, well, she went across the river." And I thought, "Oh, darn, we're gonna miss it, right?" I'm a city girl. So I'm like, well, there's our chance. Well, son of a gun, didn't we drive through the river with our Jeeps? We went through the river to the other side, and we got a chance. She was up in the tree, as she is now in this picture. And she shortly made her way down. We sat there for about 15 minutes. She started to come down, and she walked right by our Jeep. I'm not kidding. She was probably 5 feet from my reach. And I was in tears because I couldn't believe the beauty, the natural beauty, this, God-given beauty of this creature. And my life changed that day. So now I do like animals. And I look forward to trips to Africa. And so if you are an animal lover, this is probably the crowning vacation for you of your life. But if you're not, don't poo-poo it, because there's so much majesty here and so much beauty that it's worth your investment. So with that said, I just want to thank you for showing this to us here tonight, Ray. It's got all of the elements of that beautiful um, lifestyles of the rich and famous vacation.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and we're proud. And Ray mentioned the conservation fees. Those are included. Everything is included.
Hmm.
All you have to do is get your flight into Zambia on our website. We've got the instructions. You're going to come into Zambia and we'll leave from Maun. We do, once we get everybody booked, we're going to offer some extensions for those who want to come in early, and we're going to add another 4 nights in South Africa with Cape Town and wine country, where it's a little early to do flights yet. So as soon as we gather our group, we will go ahead and based on interest, we'll add that extension because if you're going all the way over there, I think that will be a nice rounded itinerary. So at this time, I think we'll wrap up with our recording, and we'll go to a question. And yes, Ray?
Actually, I also want to add that, as far as lifestyles of the rich and famous, no matter how many times I've been there, I always pinch myself when I go. Just to put into perspective, I have to do some non-glamorous travel, in the States as well to going to see agents and etc. But it's not unusual for me to go into like a hotel room, like in the city, and go, ew, our camps are like 10 times nicer than this hotel room. And we're talking like Marriott's, for example. So that just shows you how much nicer. I mean, it's not just glamping. These are luxury hotel rooms in the bush.
Yes, these are the ultimate. They're the ultimate. And thank you, Ray, again. What took us a long time, we started uh kind of talking about this and negotiating this early on. And at first, they gave me a really, really good price for our members because I explained that we like to give our singles their own space and they don't want to pay more, but the timing wasn't a great fit. So it was a great deal, but not good timing. So I want to assure everybody that we are going at a very good season, and the temperatures should be in the mid 70s. It's extremely pleasant. You'll have great weather. And so that's important for us as well here at Singles Travel International to not only get a nice um, um, value for you for the best of the best, but also to be there at a good time. That's important. You don't want to go all the way over there and have not such pleasant weather. So with that said, I believe that Ray and I think we put all the best of the best elements together. We are taking over the lodges. It will be exclusively ours. You will feel like kings and queens. And yes, Ray said in the beginning of the presentation, it probably won't be your last trip to Africa, to this area. So Ray, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording. For those who are watching on YouTube,
Pleasure.
thanks for watching. We'll do some Q&A now with our guests who are here tonight at the presentation, and we look forward to meeting you sometime soon.